The price of Romney's soul. Yes, a phrase used by one of the posters over at DU. The price of Romney's soul is apparently frog legs. Donald Trump continued his humiliation of Mitt Romney. I believe that that's what's going on. I don't believe that Mitt Romney is going to be the pick for Secretary of State. I think it's going to be David Petraeus, who ironically was far more responsible for what happened at Benghazi than Hillary Clinton ever even got close to being, and who leaked more secrets and more consequential secrets than Hillary Clinton ever even, well, she never leaked anything. And then he hid them in the attic of his house and then lied to the FBI about it. That's the guy who I predict is going to be our next Secretary of State. It could be that Donald Trump is actually reaching out to the Mitt Romney arm of the Republican Party. And in fact, it could be that Mitt Romney is kind of Donald Trump's protection against crazies like Mike Pence. He realizes he's got a really hardcore right winger. I'm going to get to that in just a second. In his vice president. And so if he makes Romney Secretary of State, if there, some kind of palace coup is launched against him and he tries to get, well, I don't know. I'm now into the realm of science fiction. But my gut is, given the way that Donald Trump has behaved in the last year and a half and what we've all learned about him, my gut is that he's just doing this to humiliate Mitt Romney after Mitt Romney humiliated him by calling him a con man and stupid and things like that, or words to that effect. And proof of that is that he got Mitt Romney to go to Jean Georges, a 3-star Michelin restaurant that is in the Trump International Hotel in New York. In other words, Donald Trump last night got Mitt Romney to promote the Trump brand in his own hotel, in a restaurant in his own hotel. Brilliant. Or bizarre. Or, like Machiavellian in ways that we can't even imagine. Meanwhile, Victoria Jones in her newsletter today, she notes President-elect Donald Trump is expected to tap former Goldman Sachs executive Steve Mnuchin as Secretary of the Treasury Department as early as this morning. Yesterday, he put Tom Price, the Republican from Georgia, in charge of the nation's healthcare system. Price, by the way, is the guy who has been probably the most ardent foe of Obamacare and Medicare, who believes that Medicare should be done away with and Obamacare should be done away with in the House of Representatives. Donald Trump picked him to be responsible for Medicare and Obamacare and Medicaid. And Mnuchin, and remember Trump saying, I'm running on a platform of no more Wall Street bankers. We're going to stick it to the Wall Street bankers. We should put these guys in jail if they, if we can demonstrate that they've committed crimes. No more carried interest loopholes for them. No more tax break loopholes for them. Remember him in the Republican primary saying the Wall Street bankers hate me. They love Hillary. They hate me. Blah, blah, blah. As we suspected, Donald Trump was just, spreading it on with a trowel. Right? Spreading it on with a trowel. So he's going to put a Wall Street billionaire. In fact, Elizabeth Warren, she who Mika Brzezinski loves to trash, Elizabeth Warren said, Steve Mnuchin is the Forrest Gump of the financial crisis. He managed to participate in all of the worst practices of Wall Street. He spent 2 decades at Goldman Sachs helping the bank peddle the same kind of mortgage products that blew up the economy and sucked down billions in taxpayer bailout money. Meanwhile, he wants to make Mitch McConnell, Mitch McTurtle, the head Republican, the guy who spent 8 years, the guy who has not given, 8 years blocking Obama, and for the last year has refused to allow Obama's pick for Supreme Court to even have a hearing, to literally even have a hearing, much less a vote. Mitch McTurtle, who was no fan of Trump, although he'd managed to stay out of the line of fire, unlike Paul Ryan, who sort of got in the line of fire a few times, although he ultimately, kissed Trump's ring as well. I mean, before the election even. Mitch McTurtle, apparently the price of his loyalty is give his wife a job, Elaine Chao. And she is, she's going to be our transportation secretary. And as Victoria writes in her newsletter, she says, Chao's record at labor suggests that she would bring a light hand to safety enforcement as transportation secretary under Labor. See, she was the labor secretary in the was it the Bush administration, I think. Maybe the first Bush administration. In any case, under Chow at Labor, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration didn't issue a single significant new safety regulation for 4 years. Mine safety inspectors were cut, inspections were reduced, and by the way, there are some who allege that that led directly to the death of at least 11 and maybe more miners. So Elaine Chao, who when she was, at Labor, helped our criminal mining companies, kill their workers, is now going over to the Secretary of Transportation. Expect to start seeing more car truck accidents, in my opinion. So we'll see where this goes. But anyhow, it's bizarre. The most recent version, this from Victoria again, the most recent version of Tom Price, this is the guy who is going to head up HHS. He's going to be in charge of your Medicare, of your Medicaid, and of your Obamacare, right? He's going to be in charge of basically your health care, your insurance, setting the rules, even if you're just getting it, privately or through your employer from a health insurance company, from a bankster who doesn't provide any kind of health care, but they handle the money, mostly your money. Even if you're getting it there, he's going to be Tom Price is going to be making the rules. He helped craft, right? I mean, this is how bad it gets. Speaker Paul Ryan's plan to privatize Medicare. By the way, Donald Trump on the stump said, we're not going to privatize your Medicare. He just put a guy in charge of HHS whose main thing is privatizing Medicare. The most recent version of Price's bill to replace Obamacare. How long is it going to be before Trump voters figure out that they've been had? That Donald Trump lied to them? That he took Democratic positions during the Republican primary, because basically people hate Republican positions, and the primary debates were actually about issues. So Donald Trump took Democratic positions during the Republican primary and won, because even Republicans like Democratic positions. And then he ran for president of the United States on those, in many cases, same Democratic positions. And, along with enormous help from the media, including Joe and Mika, and became president. And now he is turning himself into, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush. It's a sight to behold. How long before the Trump voters? How long do you think it's going to be? Do you have Trump voters in your family? Are they starting to grumble about this? Are they starting to say, looks to me like I've been screwed. This Donald Trump, he's behaving like not just your generic Republican, he's behaving like a Tea Party Republican, a right-wing Republican, a screw the average working person, anti-union, anti-healthcare Republican.
You're listening to Thom Hartmann.